The Knight of Cups being the overall on this, we're talking about, you know, that offering, right? The messenger of love and romance, the Knight of Cups. You know, and I think for you, you're seeing everything, you know, practically here. I mean, with all the pentacles coming in, but they are much more emotional. Now, for you, though, I think that you see things a little bit more realistically. But the thing is, you know, I kind of get the feeling that some of you might be being a little bit harsh, you know. But with you coming in as the King of Pentacles, you may be looking at the other person here going, you need to be more dependable. You need to be a little bit more giving here. And maybe that's what they're trying to do with the Knight of Cups. But, you know, the thing is, though, is that this is like bipolar for me. You know, it's flaky when it comes to the Knight of Cups. I do think that there is an opportunity there, but the way you see it, like I said, is different. Now, if we're talking about you, though, coming in as the King of Pentacles, for some of you, you just may be more focused on you, your career, or you're seeing this person this way. With the King of Pentacles, right, male, female, earth sign, doesn't matter to me. They are showing, though, the Six of Cups. They may have a hard time walking away from a past connection with you, which is possible. But there are issues with the past for them, for sure, with the Seven of Swords coming after that. As far as where you meet in the relationship, you're looking at slow and steady. Slow and steady. Now, you know, if they are not very clear on their intentions, that may be why, you know, things are moving slowly for you. Like, you know, it's almost like you got to show me something. You got to show me something before, you know, I'm willing to just kind of jump on this horse here with the Knight of Cups and go, you know, on this emotional adventure, so to speak. And I don't necessarily feel like they're doing anything sneaky or sketchy. I just think that they're not being very clear. And I think it's because they don't know. But I do think that you see that. So there's a little bit more caution when it comes to dealing with them, especially if they're approaching you in the Knight of Cups type of way. Now, moving out of that, with the Three of Pentacles, I mean, absolutely, there's going to have to be some work put into this, right? But the both of you are going to have to work on this. I think that you're willing to. It's not a problem. But you're not responding in a way that I think that they wanted, which is where the Five of Cups is coming through. You know, their emotional response to you and the way that you're treating this is like disappointing to them, but that may be given their past actions. You know, because I still get this feeling with the Knight of Pentacles coming through that it's like, look, you have to be willing to give me something here to make me believe that this is worth moving forward on, you know? And with them showing up as the Knight of Cups, I can see you saying, okay, you know, I'm cautious, but let's, you know, do it slowly, right? I don't think that you're not willing to put in the work because of where you're coming out here with the Hierophant, the King of Cups, and the Eight of Cups. The Hierophant is, you know, especially landing on your side, is about you wanting to have a commitment, wanting to have something traditional here, realistic, practical. I mean, you are just being straight down the line all the way through this. They are way, way over emotional. Now, with the King of Cups being directly in the middle of this, if they don't feel like you're responding in an emotional way or being open and supportive in that way, they may think about moving on. Or it's that, you know, they need to get control over their emotions here and walk away from whatever nonsense they're feeding into that may not be accurate, because you're still coming in with the Hierophant. Like, I'm being realistic about this. I'm being practical. What I want is something traditional. I want that commitment, right? And it's there, but it's like, you're not acting the way that they want you to, I think. And that's where the disappointment is coming in. But it's not that you're wrong, though, you know, and especially if they're known to, you know, not be clear on their intentions, right? Like, it would make sense that you're cautious with doing this. And that may be what the communication is about. And, you know, you're still there, though. Like, you're still there. I'm still here, right? Figure your shit out. I'm still here. The moon in the Three of Cups. Here's the thing. I don't think that they, you know, can like pull the wool over your eyes, so to speak, when it comes to other people that they're dealing with. Okay. I don't think that this has to do with support. I think that they need to move on from some things that you already know about, you know, but they may be trying to, like, confuse you almost, right? But there's definitely other people involved, I think, that they're trying to move on from, right? But the thing is they're not willing to let these people go because I don't think that you're responding in a way that they wanted you to. Had you responded like overly emotionally like they are, I think that would have been easier for them to move on from. But they may be like, I hate to say this, but like backup, there are backup people, and there may be like too many people that are around them, too many different interests, and they need to move on from that. And that may be kind of where you're like confused. Well, look, here it is, right? Why can't you work on this with me? Like, I don't understand. You still want to be involved with me, but you're not willing to do anything here, right? But like I said, I don't think that they're able to kind of pull you into, that emotional kind of whirlwind that's going on here. I mean, this is crazy. Now, with the Six of Swords and then the Eight of Wands, I do definitely think that what's happening here is that there is the communication of this, that you're not fooled by this, you understand, right? There may be a little bit of confusion as to why they're disappointed at the fact that you're wanting to work on it, but, it's because they wanted you to act differently. But anyway, looking at the Eight of Wands, there's definitely communication going back and forth between the two of you. I think that they're wanting to move really quickly on it, but you're like, nope, you need to take care of some shit and you need to move on from that. And you're right there, like, I'm good, I'm waiting, right? And they're needing to pull on the strength here to do the right thing and move on from different things. I don't, or other people, I should say. I don't think that this is like the ending of a relationship at all. But I think for you, given time here, if they continue to act in this way, I think you may lose your patience. And that may actually be you considering, fuck it, right? Which is possible. But there's still like, a want to kind of hang in there, especially with strength coming out on this. And then the Ten of Wands, but I don't know that that's actually what you want out of this. And I do think that for some of you, this is going to have to do with an ex. So one of the things that I talk about when it comes to this deck, when you're looking at the Nine of Swords and the Three of Cups, both of those are talking about getting back together, right? One is like really difficult, really, really difficult. The Three of Cups is a little bit better. That is, mending a broken heart. But this is like really needing to take a look at yourself on whether or not you really want to do this again. The Queen of Pentacles and the Ace of Swords kicking this off. With the Queen of Pentacles, for you, this may be you going, I don't need this. I know how to please myself, right? Or you're more focused on your career, or, you don't need this. Now that could be the other person that you're dealing with. But I think that it's you. And again, right, like male, female, doesn't matter to me, earth sign, whatever. The Ace of Swords, though, if you're considering this, I think for you there needs to be, not just trust here, because this is about trust, but truth. Needing to have the truth here before you can even consider a new beginning, or at least needing to be able to trust that this is worth doing, or that issues from the past are taken care of. With the Ten of Pentacles, this is about self-reflection, needing to take a look at who you are in this relationship and how you see yourself in this relationship. But with the Ten of Pentacles, right, abundant. It's an abundant relationship, right? There's something about it that is drawing you back in, I think. But with the Nine of Swords, it's not that easy. That is like really having some difficulty here trying to get back together. Because there are still some things here that need to be talked about, I think, because truth and trust. Now, moving out of this, though, I do think that with the Ten of Wands, I look at this as people, that are hooking up just to, release some pressure. And that's all it is. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. That is what the Ten of Wands is to me, looking at this. The Hermit, though, you may get involved in this way, but there are definitely some things that have not been dealt with. This is not an easy thing to do for you, but if it's ending up this way with the Hermit, I don't think that that's what you're envisioning in terms of the relationship that you want to have. Okay, all right, and that's probably what you're wanting a little bit more of here. But that's depending on, whether or not this person wants to take control of where the relationship is heading. All right. with the world. Now, traditionally, right, we could be talking about you getting closure on this issue or needing to get closure on something. But this is about an abundant relationship, big time here, that makes you feel complete, right? So there is definitely something about this that is drawing you back in, but there needs to be trust and truth here, you know, and definitely having some closure on those issues for some of you. Now, looking at the Chariot, right, this is not easy. Is this something that you see yourself doing? Is this something that you see yourself getting involved with again? Because it's not easy. There are some things that have happened along the way here that does not make this an easy connection to make. But it's because of the way that you feel about it, I think that you're being drawn back in. And it may be because this person is like coming in. The Chariot, the reason why we call this a sneak attack is because somebody is coming out of nowhere and wanting to take control of the relationship where it was heading nowhere before. You know, but it's up to them. But the thing is the way that it happens is like, you know, it's not, I don't think it's fulfilling enough for you, because with the Three of Pentacles, you're talking about needing more warmth, needing more love, needing to have more of a connection within the relationship. That is what you're seeing, but that is not what you're getting or what you're doing. You know, which is why we're looking at getting to know each other, needing to take some time to like really know, you know, how this person sees this relationship and how they feel, and they need to see it from your perspective though too. You know, if this is not what you're envisioning. All right. You guys will have to let me know on that one. And the Seven of Cups, you know, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, even though we're talking about fantasy, right? Passion. It's no wonder why there's some passion going on. Now, with the Emperor, right, there's a lot of like strong, like passionate sexual energy that's happening, right? This may be the person you're dealing with, or maybe you. Aries, maybe. But with the Nine of Wands, somebody is needing to come in and fix some issues before it's too late. Okay, there are some issues that need to be fixed for there to be like that chemistry, so to speak, to come back into the relationship, you know, and especially for those of you who are looking at, you know, a male figure. This is like, you need to get in there and like, you know, start being a little bit more passionate. I mean, that's basically what it comes down to, you know, so that's the issue, right? Now, where you move into, you guys are having some fun, right? Healing some issues, definitely with the Three of Cups, right? The healing of a broken heart, mending some issues here. You know, there's definitely a lot of passion, a lot of good connection happening, which is great. And then you move into the Eight of Wands and the Seven of Cups. This is, you know, wanting to savor those moments, but, you know, I kind of worry about that a little bit because you're talking about fantasy with the Seven of Cups, right? But, you know, this could be like living out your fantasies and not in a kinky way with the moon, right? Bad. Yeah, you're making something happen here. So now with the Ten of Swords, I look at this as past. So with the Ten of Swords here, you know, there may have been a lot of hurt. You may have gone through a separation. Absolutely. That would make sense why the Three of Cups is showing up. But, you know, you guys are definitely coming back together and in a very good way, right? And somebody is wanting to come in and fix some issues for sure, you know, because there's still definitely a lot of passion between the two of you. I mean, hell, you know, right? But I do think that at some point here, you know, things are a little bit painful. Something happens and it looks like it's coming to an end, but then somebody comes in and tries to fix that. With the Three of Cups, you know, again, that is coming back together, you know, after having a split up in some cases. But with the Six of Wands, it's you're really needing to like put yourself out there. You know, I almost feel like it's a little bit of a risk for you, but it's not bad. Like it leads to exactly what you want. You know, and with the Magician, right, if you're fantasizing about how the relationship can go after the fact, right, you may be enjoying everything and wanting that to continue. It's up to you to make that happen, right? With the Magician being there, that or somebody else is, you know, using what they know to make this happen with this relationship rather than letting things fall away or go to a really bad point where there's possibly a breakup.